Welcome to InventorCAM Professor on our series of Getting Started. I'm Sydney, your InventorCAM Professor, and in this session we'll show you how to machine this part using multi-sided machining. If we take a look at this part over here, you'll see we have to machine it from the top, and we also have to drill out and machine this area over here, and the same thing over there, on this side, and on this side as well. We should also note that the stock material is actually a casted part. I'll start my first operation by simply face milling the top over here. And in this particular case, if I go into my face mill operation that I've chosen over here, you'll see that my geometry is actually just the boundary over here. The tool that I'll be using is a 16mm end mill, and my upper level will be 2 millimeters, which is above the zero of the part itself, and my face depth will be on the face itself. The technology I've used will be a hatch technology, going back and forth on the part. And if we take a look at our simulation, you'll note that the simulation is only working on this particular face itself. If I were to do solid verify simulation, you'll see that the tool goes down, mills every single one of these faces back and forth, and only this face and nothing else. Before I continue, another thing we should note is that my stock material in this particular case, if I were to show it to you, is actually a casted part. So therefore only this top part over here needed to be machined. Now, in my next operation, I have to drill out one of the sides. So I'm using actually my next home position, position 2, to drill out this side over here and to mill this face over here. And I've created, again using Mach 1, I've used a drilling operation as shown here, using in that point over there. The tool that I would use was an 8mm tool at 90 degrees as a center drill. My levels was upper level 0 and my drill depth 0, but having it go down to a 7.5mm diameter of the tool itself. If I were to simulate the part, and I'll use the option of solid verify, you'll note that the tool will actually go down and give a simple center drill spot onto that point over there. Now we'll continue with our next operation, also another drill operation, where I've used the same geometry as I did before in the same position. This time the tool was a 10mm drill. My upper level, again 0, my drill depth going down with the cutter tip down towards this area over here. And my technology, we use a simple pecking operation. Again, if I were to use my simulation, use the solid verify simulation, you'll note that the tool will go down and drill out what had to be drilled over there. Now, in my next operation, I've created another drilling operation. And this time, again using the same Mach position, my tool was a 17.5mm tool, the diameter of the actual hole itself. My level is the same as before, and this time I've completed this operation for the drilling of this part, as we can see in the simulation itself. Now, my next operation that I've done here was actually a profile operation. If I were to open the operation, again, position 2, you'll note that my profile was the actual circle over here. And I've used a tool, a 16mm end mill. My levels, my profile depth was up until that floor itself. And my technology was a simple finish technology with an approach of a 2mm arc and a lead out as the same. Again, looking at the simulation, you'll note again that the tool goes down into the hole around the part itself, milling out the exact step as shown there. Now, in my next positions, but all position number 3, and if I go further down, 4, and position 5, all of them actually have to do the exact same thing, drilling and milling out. And that's exactly what I've done. You'll see in my Mach 1 position 3, I've done the exact same operations that I've done before. The same thing in position 4, and the same thing in position 5. We have all the same operations. Now, when I go back to position 1, we now have to finish drilling out these holes over here. So over here, again, I've started with this first particular operation over here. And I've actually started out first with a pocket operation. And in this operation, if I show you my geometry, I'm actually going to go into these holes itself, as shown here. The tool that I will be using will be a 6mm tool. The levels going to depth of 21 millimeters. And my technology will be a simple contour option. If I had to go into my simulation and use solid verify simulation, you'll note that the tool goes down into every single one of those holes and mills it out in a pocket fashion. That's just another way that we can actually do these holes. The same thing was done with the rest of the holes around on the part itself, as shown here. In my next operation, I've created a drill for these holes around here, and I've used again the 8mm center drill, and my upper level and drill depth was 0, having my diameter of the tool go down to until it reaches a 3mm in diameter machining onto the part itself, depth of the tool itself. If we again take a look at solid verify for the simulation, you'll see that the tool goes down only until it reaches that particular diameter of 3mm over there on the 0 level. Now, if we go into our next operation, we'll do the exact same geometry as shown here, and this time we'll be using a 4mm tool where the upper level is 0 and my drill depth is 13.5, going down to the cutter tip. My next operation continues on the exact same location. This time I will be using a tool that's 4.2mm with a flat bottom. My levels will be from upper level from 0 to depth of 10mm. And my technology, I'll be using regular drilling. If I were to look at my simulation again using the solid verify, you'll note again that the tool will go down directly into the part, and the same thing with every single one of those holes as shown here, and it'll give me a flat bottom up until that point that I'm drilling out. Now, my next operation will be another drilling operation, but this time I'll be working on these holes over here. This hole there and the other hole on the other side over there. The tool again will be my center drill. The levels, my upper level will be as shown over here, and going down to a drill depth of 0 until it reaches a 5mm diameter of the tool. In my next operation, again, I'll be going to that same area, into those same drill points. This time I'll be using a 6.6 millimeter drill. My upper level being 0 and my lower level being the very bottom of the part itself, and having a delta depth of -1 so that the full diameter of the part goes 1 millimeter past the bottom of the part itself. Now, the last operation I've done here is simply these areas over here. I've actually milled out those steps. As we can see, I've used a profile operation where my geometry is this area over there, and the same thing on the other side over there. My tool is a 6 millimeter end mill, and my levels, my upper level and my profile depth is up until that step itself. Now, if I do simulation, and I'll do simulation this time on the entire part, not just one operation, but the entire part using Solid Verify, you'll see that the entire part is milled out from the very top, as shown here, to every single side, to this side, back to the top, completing every single one of those holes, then drilling out the holes in the corners, as we'll shortly see as it gets to the next drilling operation, and also the same thing at the corners of the part itself. Now we've completed machining this entire part. Thank you for joining us on InventorCAM Professor. Take care and have a nice day.